The 2024 season may prove to be more interesting than we anticipated. The Australian Grand Prix demonstrated that Red Bull has lost one of its major advantages, while rivals, notably Ferrari, are progressing rapidly. In what exact aspects was Red Bull weaker, and will Ferrari be able to capitalize on this and challenge for the championship? All of this in this video. Red Bull's dominance has been ongoing for 2 years now, largely attributed to their cars. Starting from 2022, Red Bull engineers have demonstrated their superior understanding of the current technical regulations and their ability to construct fast and stable cars without weaknesses. According to the team's technical director, Adrian Newey, when designing the car for the current regulations, they aim to focus on race pace and facilitate overtaking for their drivers. Analyzing previous seasons, it can be concluded that such an approach has paid off. While Red Bull didn't always set the fastest times in qualifying, they often showcased true dominance in the race, with good tire management playing a significant role in this. No matter how fast your car is on one lap, if you're overheating and wearing out your tires too quickly, you'll be forced to lower your pace. Similar issues were evident last season with the Ferrari team, which couldn't capitalize on good starting positions due to poor tire management. However, Red Bull didn't face this problem. On every track, they demonstrated phenomenal tire management, allowing their drivers to maintain a consistent pace over long stints. The beginning of the new season was no exception. The Bahrain Grand Prix confirmed Red Bull's strengths in effectively working with soft tires. However, this advantage wasn't present at the Australian Grand Prix. According to the McLaren team principal, Andrea Stella, even without issues with Verstappen's car, Red Bull wouldn't have had an advantage in tire management. In Bahrain, Red Bull was the only car that comfortably used the soft tires. But in Bahrain, you have no graining at all. No way that you are going to grain because you don't have enough grip to stress the tires and strain the rubber to a point where the rubber generates graining. Australia is a completely different regime compared to Bahrain. But still, I would say, harnessing this matter from an engineering point of view and saying, oh, it's very clear what we need to do on the car to be okay in Bahrain, and to be okay here. That's not straightforward at all. Otherwise, everyone would be in a good spot. It's really difficult. But I think even in final practice, when Verstappen attempted a long run, that wasn't a good long run. We took a look at his tires at the end of the long run, and they were pretty finished in 10-15 laps or so. At the moment, it's unclear whether this weakness will reappear, or if it's due to the peculiarities of the Melbourne track. However, such remarks give hope that this season we will witness more than one battle for victories, and at this point, the main contenders to challenge Red Bull are Ferrari. They have managed to significantly improve their car compared to the previous season and have a stable foundation that can be qualitatively upgraded throughout the season. Ferrari engineers have been able to maintain the strengths of the previous car and address its shortcomings. According to Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur, the SF24 is more predictable and stable over long distances, and it's much easier to control than the previous car. We made a huge step forward. Perhaps on the pace of one lap, it's true that we were not nowhere last year on one lap pace. But where we made a huge step, I think it's more on the consistency between the two compounds. Between one stint and the other one, the car is much easier to drive. Much easier to read also for our drivers, and by the way, much easier to develop. And it's probably the biggest step that we did compared to last year, to have something that we cannot easily manage, but at least have a good read of the car quite early into the weekend. In addition, Ferrari has significantly improved their tire management. What was their weakness in the previous season has now become a strength. Even after the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, in an interview, Helmut Marko stated that Ferrari was better than Red Bull at working with hard tires. This improvement is also strongly confirmed by Ferrari, naming good tire management as one of their greatest achievements. What is true is that last year, the main issue was the fact that the car was very difficult to drive into the race. Then you had to do a step in the pace, you were doing mistakes, damaging the tires. And then it's kind of negative spiral. This year it's much easier, I think, to read for them. to know where is the limit and to stay just a bit below. And when you have to go to tire management, it's much easier. They are much more under control than they were last year when they were a bit in the survival mode, and by this you are killing the tires quite quickly. The significant improvements at Ferrari and some setbacks at Red Bull give hope that the championship will become even more interesting. Of course, it's still early to talk about the battle for the Drivers' Championship, but the fight for the Constructors' Championship is entirely plausible. Currently, Ferrari boasts one of the strongest driver pairings. Their strategy has improved, and mechanics perform excellently during pit stops, so we can expect more battles for victory. The primary focus for Ferrari now is to enhance the car significantly while keeping pace with Red Bull, and the first steps in this direction are already underway. Ferrari will introduce a small update at the Japanese Grand Prix, ahead of larger improvements in the future. Therefore, it's too early to be disappointed in this season. The real competition lies ahead.